here we are. Hello, I'm Ian, locally known as Commander Shork on Twitter. Um, and welcome to my little exploring ship. You can see out the front here, I'm basically in the middle of nowhere, and I should probably show you exactly where. So, galaxy map. So I have a waypoint, fairly common ore garden, F-type white star, just outside this nebula here, which is a little bit of exploring. It's about 30-40 jumps away, so you may not be able to do it in stream. But if I just zoom out, you can see kind of halfway between Beagle Point and Sagittarius X, or 2/3. I'm a little bit closer to the center of the galaxy, Beagle Point. So I went to Beagle Point on the wonderful Distant Worlds 2 expedition. Very proud badge owner. Though I haven't quite decided what I'm going to stick it on yet. And yeah, I actually have 3 commanders, and the one I'm flying with right now was the Distant Worlds 2. So despite the fact that was well over a year ago, I still actually haven't made it back to anywhere like Colonia or Explorer's Anchorage or the main bubble, which is all the way over here, is where most of my stuff is. 40-50 hours flying. So yeah, I'm just going to do a little bit of exploring and try and get a few. Make my way back through this wonderful sandbox galaxy. So you'll be able to tell I'm just a little bit below the main plane. And yeah, I just want to try and stay off the beaten track if I can. Not that money is seriously an issue, because this commander is triple elite, has 400 mil in the bank and about 2 billion in assets. So I'm not terribly interested in getting a fleet carrier. Even if I could afford it, I probably wouldn't be bothered. So, my ship. Here it is. Turn that off, I'll give you a closer look. It's an Exploraconda. It's not a particularly well engineered Exploraconda. On a good day, I can get about 46-47 light years out of it on a single jump. The main reason being is I'm actually carrying a few weapons and a fighter bay and some other, assorted sundries that I could have dumped if I'd wanted to extend my jump range a little bit, and I haven't done the Guardian grind yet. So yeah, I'm probably about 20-25 light years shy of the ultimate capacity, jump capacity of the vessel. So yeah, let's see what's out there and see what there is to see. So just to let you know a little bit about my setup, you may see these wonderful things on the side of my headphones here. That is the track IR. I don't have it turned on at the moment because I don't really need it for exploring. And if I'm glancing over at, my Twitch studio on my second monitor. Oh, binary. Yeah, you don't want to see point of view in the main game window flickering around everywhere. It might make everyone seasick. Okay, so yeah, this is a nice little double star system. I am not going to head through the gap, thank you very much. But what I am going to do is I'm going to honk the system with my discovery scanner. 53. Let's see what there is. So, if you are not terribly familiar with the game, this is, if you'll excuse the slightly not safe for work language, this is the for fuck's sake scanner, because some people find it a little frustrating. It's technically the FSS, the filtered spectrum scanner, or the full spectrum scanner, something like that. And it allows you to find, you know, what's here and what's there, and whether anything is kind of like worth mapping or whatever. So gas giants are usually fairly valuable, occasionally have life, so very good. This section of the scanner is the explorer's favourite because it goes from water worlds, which are affectionately called Cosnas for obvious reasons. Relatively common. Ammonia worlds, much rarer. And the fabled Earth-like worlds, very rare indeed. If we get any of those on the stream, I'll be quite surprised. And then you just got the garbage wreckage. But the metal-rich bodies, because they are metal-rich, they've got a lot of valuable materials on them. So generally worth scanning, but if you're in a hurry, like I am, because I've been away from a starport with this character for like nearly a year and a half, it's probably about time I actually got back and shooting. But while we are on our way, let's see if this water world has been tagged. So you probably can't see it terribly well behind the star there, but when you are zooming around, here we are, you get little icons and markers. I'm pointing at the screen in front of me, even though you can't see what I'm pointing at. I'm sorry, I'm being stupid. You'll have to get used to that. So yeah, so you can see those like double lines of 3 dots is pointing me in the direction of this water world, and there it is. Underneath the analysis scanner, it would tell you if it's been discovered before. Clearly this hasn't, because there are no names saying who first discovered it or who first scanned it. It's good news for me, because I will get the money for it if I manage to beat people home. The scanner says that is the only water world in the system. How far away is it? Yeah, 122,819 light seconds. Let's not start the stream by going for that. Let's just grab. See if we can find any of these gas giants, provided they're not hiding behind these guns, which of course they are. See the little arrows flipping about there. Something interesting. Scanning high metal content. Oh, there's an atmosphere. You see, I got a codex discovery there. Again, all good fun. More on the codex later. That looks like gas giants, doesn't it? Let's see what we got.
Fuel scoping.
Oh. I must be close enough to the star to fuel scoop. I have to be very, very careful because crashing into a star is not a terribly good idea. It's not going to kill you outright necessarily, but it can do some damage. That's class 2. That's either going to be class 1 or... So the classes are to do with how much mass it has. And of course it's on the other side. I want to see what it is. Let's fly to the other side of the star. Grab some fuel. I'm really kind of regretting not actually grabbing a slightly larger fuel scoop. This means you don't overheat quite so much, yeah, don't go exploring without a fuel scoop. Not a good idea. Right, where? So, with it being a binary system, it does make it a little bit more tricky to find the orbital plane. Actually, just a normal gas type one. So when there's only one star or primary, as I'm going to call them. Let's see. You are as well. That'll be another class 4, maybe? Yeah. Yeah. Oh god, there's another one out there as well. Quite a large amount of mass in the system. Oh, no rings on that one. And there's another. Come here. $3,300 Earth masses. That's substantial. That's on the cusp of actually being a star. And I think that's everything. I'm not gonna... Damn, this crash will be here for... Anyway, as I was saying before I got distracted, yeah. If I actually show the system map, you can see that, yeah, this has quite a few bodies in it. It's a very, very complex system. And actually, if we go to the orrery, I don't make use of this view terribly much, but it can be quite useful if you want to have a more kind of 3D view of how everything looks. So yeah, that's very interesting looking set of co-orbiting little solar system. Not all systems by any means are this complex, which means they're a lot easier to scan. After we've done this next jump, I will show you the way I used to increase my probability of finding nice planets. Yes, I will be partaking. And if I do a stream tomorrow, I will hopefully be able to show you a beverage appropriate t-shirt. Oh, 24. So K-type star. So this is a little bit smaller than the sun, which means it's less likely to have things like ammonia worlds, Earth-likes. So it's a load of garbage, asteroids, icy bodies, high metal content world, rocky bodies, and a few gas giants. So after you play for a while, you'll get a feel for how far you go across the scanner, to what kind of class of gas giant it is, and whether it's worth scanning. These look like they're like class 1. You can also learn the pattern of the little arrows. I really ought to write them down at some point. So, class 1, not really worth scanning. But one of the things that I do to kind of like keep myself occupied while I'm exploring is that I really like to look for what I call lumpy potatoes, which are bodies with an extremely small radius. So if you know any physics, and I do because I did a degree in it and I've been doing it at A level for 11 years. If you have a body with a radius of less than a few hundred kilometers, let's say 300-400, it's not actually going to have sufficient mass and density to be able to form a perfect circle. So when you come across, really, really densely populated systems, there's a fairly decent chance that you might actually come across one of these really, really small bodies. There are other reasons for scanning these little bodies as well, because see in the top right we have kind of like the resources and features. All of these resources, the elements, can be used in making upgrades for things, and I'll maybe show you that on a separate screen when I can actually do some stuff actually with them. And the features can be kind of like biological life forms, very rare, though there is a knack to being able to find them. May or may not be able to do that on this stream. And things like geological features, like geysers, that kind of thing. And if there are any settlements, human or otherwise, they will show up on the features list as well. And the kicker with those is that you actually have to map the planet to be able to actually locate them. Mapping is a whole extra tier of scanning. It works a little bit like the sensor probes in Mass Effect 2. Cue the inevitable probing Uranus jokes. Really, Shepard? People who play the game will get that reference. And I'll wait until after the joke. We'll continue in that time. Take a little slurp. Always remember to throttle down after you, or even before you come out of hyperspace. Okay, so standard procedure. Honk the system. Honk. See if there's anything interesting. That is a resounding no. So rather than worry about that, I'm just going to move on. So there are a few little tricks that can increase your probability of finding interesting things. One of the things I haven't mentioned so far are notable stellar phenomenon. They are particularly rare and usually only found in kind of like places like nebula, which is why I'm going to be using. If you see all these clouds off the bow before we get back into the main part of the center of the galaxy, I'm going to be using these as waypoints because there's plenty of stuff out there still. With the game being in kind of like continuous um, development, there's always new stuff to be found. And when you consider that this game's been running for about 6 years, and the player base has explored less than 1% of the galaxy, it's not even half a percent. There's still a huge amount of stuff to actually go look for. So I'm out here looking for it. Just checking my phone what that little message is. Apparently I have a new follower. Hello, Nurko. Right. 16 bodies. So relatively small. Ooh. No. Asteroid clusters or AC off the boring gas giant. Okay. So I should get to these tips. Right. So I'm just going to make sure I'm not going to crash into the star while I refuel, and I'm going to show you my joystick operates. Some of the things that you can do to increase your likelihood of finding interesting stuff.
Fuel
And
complete.
you want to go to this map configuration section on the map. Select star class from the drop down box. We'll get to the other ones probably in other streams. And have a look at these different star classes. Now, what do they all mean? White dwarfs are evil. Just don't bother. They will overheat your ship and kill you. As soon as look at you. So don't do that. Wolf-Rayets, their stars are kind of like protostars, which are very, very big, very, very hot, and incredibly rare. You manage to tag one of these, which has not been found before. You're a lucky person. I haven't. I've visited a couple, but never tagged one. Carbon stars also worth looking out for. Again, they are kind of like at the end of their life. They are doing kind of like shell carbon burning and all that wonderful stuff. So it's kind of like a post-red giant phase for a main sequence star. And then we have the ones with letters. So is it Harvard who came up with the letters? I had to look up. But yeah, effectively, the sun is a G-type star. Very, very average. It's the baseline of how we measure other stars within the galaxy and the universe, and they're relatively rare. I mean, when you look at all of the different types, there's a little bit of a clue in the coloration here. That protostars are kind of like almost stars, um, sometimes called T Tauris. They are effectively just hot clouds of gas that haven't quite collapsed and started nuclear fusion yet. Y type, T type, L type stars are effectively failed stars. They didn't quite generate enough mass to be able to remain metastable and give some a continuous amount of nuclear fusion on what we call the main sequence. I won't go into the Hertzsprung-Russell diagram now. That's worth a completely separate science stream. It's one of my favorite bits of astrophysics. Whereas the O, B, A, F, G, A, M type stars are the ones where fusion is occurring and you can use them as fuel sources. So, yeah, not stranded and calling the fuel rats. Wonderful people, along with their colleagues, the Hull Seals. If you're ever out in the middle of nowhere and you get in trouble, they are the guys to go to. If you want to make loads and loads and loads of first discoveries, just go fly around the M class. You won't find anything interesting other than what a friend of mine calls Pepto-Bismol worlds, because they're just pink balls of ice. And they're really dull, really worthless. So, unfortunately, M-type stars make up about 90% of the stars in the galaxy. There. So useful if you don't want to run out of fuel when you're kind of like setting waypoints. There are regions, if I just kind of like zoom out in the galactic map, where you can see the gaps between the spiral arms where it gets a little bit darker. Stars are really sparse in these gaps, and yeah, you just have to grab fuel where you can find it, unless you have an exceptionally long jump range. So yeah, normally we don't terribly bother with M class stars because frankly you are not going to be finding anything terribly exciting within one of those systems, unless you are exceptionally. K-type stars, again, quite good. If you want to kind of like get gas giants and things, they're longer lived than G-type stars, so you're likely to, and because they're a little bit cooler as well, they're pretty good for water worlds and maybe ammonia worlds. But the majority of Earth-likes and water worlds you will find around F and G type stars. The O, B, and A type stars are much rarer. You can see from the, just the stars you can see on the screen here that it's predominantly red. There are a few A types dotted about, and if I kind of like filter out all of the kind of like the more average stars, it gets much more sparse. And if I get rid of the A's, we're in kind of like trouble to kind of like get anywhere. So it gives you an idea of, these O and B type stars are very, very short lived. Few 100 million years or something like that. So I anything B type or O type, especially O type, I will kind of like if it's on or near my route of travel. I will make a point of going there and having a look what's there, because O, B, and A type stars, particularly if they are near these kind of like nebulae and gas clouds, there's quite a high probability that you are going to find some form of life there. Now, I dropped the K-type stars from my route, and if you remember, I had 26 jumps to go before I looked at the map. Oh, it hasn't actually made too much of a difference for getting rid of them. Oh, alright. I'll take it. Normally dropping star types from your route planning means that you have to take a more zigzaggy route.
Frameshift drive charging.
An F. The route planning is much improved from the early days. I should say. Okay, it hasn't plunged me out into the middle of a primary. Oh, okay, it is a binary system, but there's a rather large gap between the two stars that last big, huge 5-star system earlier. The advantage about honking stars is you get all the information from them from just the tier 1 scan, so you don't have to do the secondary level. Okay, so let's see how close we can get. Oh. Oh, someone's followed me. Hello, Tau Blaze. Or is it Tor Blaze? Yes. If you were expecting any combat on this stream, I'm afraid you're going to be sorely disappointed. Gas giant. Boring small stuff. Okay, moving on. So, the explorer's mantra. Jump, honk, scoot. Ooh! Ah, hello! I'm not looking for combat, just relaxing exploration. Well, hopefully I can provide that for you. But, okay. And you are the first person ever on Twitch to send me a chat, so hello. Alright. So, if you see that nebula in front of us, that's where I'm hoping to end up by the end of this stream. Oh, cool. See how we go. Honoured. Well, yeah. Reassuring to be watched, given that this is, effectively the first time that I've done this. Certainly with an audience at any rate. Oh, okay, nice small system. Mostly stars by the looks of it, and there's a gas giant.
System scan complete.
Yeah, not terribly exciting. but I saw mine. Oh, that's very kind of you to say that. Doing great for. Wow. I should probably state at this point that I am relatively used to speaking to an audience, mainly because I've spent quite a lot of time in recent, well, the last 10 years or so, as a physics teacher. So, as you might imagine, this game is right up my street. Um, let's see what we have. Yeah, my main failing actually as a teacher was that I would never use one word when 50 will do. Occasionally it was a little bit of a challenge actually getting me to shut up and just let kids get on with it. One of the reasons I don't do it. And I tutor instead. Oh, let's have a look at this. Here we go. Plus 3. I'm just going to grab the gas giant. As long as it doesn't get too violent. There are far more interesting things to go hunting than this thing. Actually, if we get the opportunity, I will maybe have to introduce you to the concept of ring slalom, which was introduced to me by a fellow Twitter commander, Soanti, who is affectionately known as Rebuy because of the number of rebuys. I think he must have had a scientist or a physicist to give him his call sign, given the amount of imagination involved. Big Bang, Large Hadron Collider. Yes, it collides hadrons and it's large. Surely you can do better. That's interesting. If you look on the scanner, you can see on the bottom right there, we've got two other objects that have flagged up, which means either they're stars or someone has been here before. Looks like they might be stars. So, might as well tag it. Ooh. Geological features. What are they? Silicate vapor geysers. Good place to go hunting for resources. What have they got? Vanadium, uranium, molybdenum, niobium. You know what? This may call for a bit of surface exploration. I might need some.
System scan complete.
So that's the whole system. Number 3. Oh, it's close. It does have quite high surface gravity, so I will need to be slightly careful. But hey, why not? Let's do a little bit of funding. You know, because racing around in SRVs is fun. Might be an idea to turn my shield module back on. Also, tell you what, I'll pop the shield boosters back on as well. I don't need that. And that. Okay. Ah, I was wondering about that. Yeah, I have to confess, I am not entirely sure how to do it. Ah. Well, yeah, I'm just having a look at the. Which way it works? Oh, it works that way. I'll give the mic a little bit of a boost and hope, yeah, if you could tell me whether that is any better, or whether I just need to speak up and articulate a little bit better. Oh, good. All right. They up.
Shields online.
Right. Okay, go. Ah, oh, good. I have my shields back. That will mean less likely to explode when I hit the surface of this planet, which is about 12,000 light years from anywhere. This is as good an opportunity as any to demonstrate the surface mapping. Right. Surface scanning. So depending on the size of the planet, it takes an X number of probes. And I'll show you the way I like to do it. So, yeah. I mean, it's nearly 5 Earth mass. Quite big. Ooh. It's a nice coincidence. Because normally what I like to do is put one probe on each pole and then fly around the equator. And take it from there. Oh yes, we will see if we can do a little bit of geyser jumping, which is a very risky and actually this place is probably a little bit too high G to really want to be able to do it properly. If you can find some water geysers on a really low G ice world or something, and like you drive yourself into the geyser as it's spurting, and then suddenly you're about 2 kilometers up into the air. That can be quite fun. This would have been a good time to have actually plugged in the track IR. That's the only time really, when you're exploring, where it's a really good idea to have the head tracking on, because you can probably see me doing it on the webcam that I'm doing that to try and turn my head within the game because I'm just so used to flying with it on. Right, so it's a bit distance from the planet. So now I've got the poles and try and find the equator. Around here. So it's that line there. I've got my cursor. Try and catch.
Surface scanned by 50%.
Excellent. So now rocket through 90 degrees. Oh, hello, gets approved. I hope you are well. As you can possibly see, I am just surface scanning a nice big huge rock. I am surprisingly chipper, all things considered. This is why the sound is loud. Okay, well, I did specifically turn it down. Okay, I will maybe nudge it down a little bit more, if that is going to help your ears. Two more probes. Do it. Is it the sound effects? I'm going to assume it's... Why? Hopefully that'll be a bit... Ooh! The cutter is worth it. I do have... If I show you... As you will see, I am a Duke. So yeah, on this commander, I did get the cutter. I use it mainly for cargo running, and It's called the Centennial Goshawk, which is a very blatant reference to what if you are a Star Wars fan. You're new. T- Well, I envy you because I've been playing since Premium Beta, so is yeah why I have 3 commanders, triple elite. Not that I'm bragging about that or anything, and not that I'm wearing the elite Cobra Mark 3 T-shirt and have bought all of the paint jobs and all the rest of it. Um, 210 million is a good return.
Surface scan
Oh,
complete.
excellent. That's complete. Yeah, you probably have more money than I do. I mean, well, I've got 400 and odd million. I got about 2 billion in assets on this commander-ish, and about the same on my third commander, who just hit triple elite, who's based in Colonia at the moment. And I have my kind of like my number 2 commander. Why is my little pinky not working? Come on. It's not the pinky, it's the hat on my joystick. The joystick's about 5 years old and like most of the paint has worn off. So I've got like God knows how many hours logged. Right. Okay. Let's have a look at one of these. Yeah, Pay Night. Pay Night is good. What was that on? Oh, there it is. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask and doing it badly. I haven't been to Sirius in a very long time. But yeah, if you combined all the money of my 3 commanders together, I would probably have enough to buy a carrier. Well, but there's something to be said for making money really quickly. It certainly wasn't like that back in vanilla. If you were making 1 million every hour bounty hunting, that was a fairly good return. And I know there's a rush to get to the big ships. But actually some of my favorite ships to fly, and I know I sound like a complete and utter hypocrite right now because I'm flying an Anaconda. Some of the smaller ships are actually my favorite to fly. I mean, well, when I do another stream, maybe on one of my other commanders, I can maybe show you the kind of like the battle Anaconda that I have. I mean, it's brutal, but it's not quite so much fun to fly as some of the other ships. And yes, Horizons will be free very, very soon. And maybe I can do a little bit of a selling job and showing you a little bit of what you're missing with not having access to the SRV in a second. Yes, I am moderately excited about Odyssey. Next year's update. I was never a massive fan of the idea of space legs. I don't know how old you two are, but I played the original Elite for like ages, and this is like back in the mid '80s. Um, so yes, old as Methuselah, as my friend Mistake Mark on Twitter likes to say. And for me, even doing the stuff on, doing planetary landings like this was a bonus. Um, so yeah, I will be interested to see how the kind of like the on foot missions pan out, and again, I'll probably go more for exploration than combat. Because I one of the reasons I have more than one account is I just really like you know the variety. Am I actually above it? Oh, is this? Sorry. Anaconda is good for mining. Yes, absolutely. Because oh my god! Ow! Oh, I'm glad I put my shields back on. Yeah, only been flying about 4,000 hours. Still crashing. Still crashing into planetary surfaces. I'm glad that was only 2G and not 6. Yeah, I did actually kind of like want that selected, so I could actually know where I'm going. Python is good. Um, do like the Python. I never really got it to work terribly well as a combat ship. Um, I always preferred. I mean, compared to the Crate Mark II, the the Crate is just a way better combat ship. There is just like no argument on that. I mean, with having the fighter bay as well, it is just it's a phenomenal vessel. It's really really fab. Um, Python is arguably the best all round ship in the game. Particularly if you are interested in doing where's my landing gear gone? There it is. Um, mission running.
Landing gear deployed.
Um, hmm, yeah. Well, oh, stop, stop, stop. Yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah, you're supposed to stop. Sorry, let me try and land, and I will. Think I'm having a little bit of a conflict between my OTAS and my throttle settings. Yeah. One problem with an Anaconda, because it is so big, it's quite difficult to find a place to land. Oh, that'd be why I changed my keyboard shortcut for the full stop. I've not played. Got my key landing. Okay, we're down. Ah. Yes, it does. I mean that's the same with all the ranking actually, whether you're looking at, the main elite ranks. Um Beyond kind of like the I guess for the combat rank, anything above competent does take a long time. I mean, the the gap between deadly and elite on the combat rank, I mean that that will take you the thick end of 100 hours if you're on your own and don't have an NPC pilot in places like compromised nav beacon. which is where I did it for the most part. Um, so when you do get that triple elite, you have absolutely which is one of the things I really love about this game probably the most is that there aren't any real shortcuts. I mean, you can do the Sebago runs or Sothis runs, the and you can get trade elite quite relatively quickly because there are still quite a few nice money making things within the game, but with combat there is absolutely no shortcut really. Um, so I think the key to farming rank is really making sure that you're looking at the faction increase. Because if you are like allied with a faction, you'll be able to get missions that improve your rating with them actually much quicker. Right. So where are we? Yeah, merchants are decent. All right. So I need to change mode. Change my gun. So here we are. Nice little silicate vapor fuses. Actually, might as well show you my shiny golden paint job on the SRV. So, if you've not played Horizons, one of the best things that you can do on planets is go scrounging for materials. So these geological sites are really good for finding these little clusters of minerals, and when you shoot them, you can select them, and they will. If you look in the lower left hand corner of the HUD, this is the very hard to pronounce molybdenum. And when you open your cargo scoop and you drive over the top, it will collect it. And all of these materials can be used in the synthesis menu. And there we are. So if I need to refuel, repair, restock my ammo, these are just the ones that you can do on the SRV. But there are also, other upgrades when you are exploring. Probably the most important one, if I can find it, is the FSD injection, which allows you to get really nice bonuses on your jump range for a single jump. So quite good if you find yourself in the gap between two galaxy arms and you can't get out of there with just one jump. The SRV, if you do, there are like human settlements that you can go to as well, and also there are two types of aliens, the Argoids and the Guardians, and they have kind of like surface settlements you can go to as well. Germanium. I'll take that, thank you very much. There's my ship. You can actually shoot your own vessel. Not recommended. And yes, you can destroy it. Again, not recommended. Where was I? This is one thing you will notice. I do get easily distracted by shiny things. I'm a little bit like a magpie in that one. So, I can't remember what I was talking about. It was something about exploring. Oh yes, it's fine. It's come back to me. So yeah, as well as being just empty, abandoned, well, not even occupied planets like this one that you can go and drive around and harvest minerals from. I'm on the rock side. A little bit about. There it is. Iron. I'm full iron. So yeah, as well as having like different kind of human and alien settlements you can go and visit, and grab technology from, and blueprints for things like the Guardian fighters. If you've kind of like seen the Guardian technology broker in any of the come on. Yeah, so if you encountered a starport with the Guardian technology broker, it's trying to get away. Stop him. Yeah, you can retrieve blueprints and have a bit of combat with the, you know, well, they're not called Guardians for nothing. They're like little robot-y, Tron-like constructs that will take exception to you raiding the data facilities of these like long abandoned settlements. Moving. So the doing missions actually in kind of like human settlements. There are like loads of different types, which are could be quite lucrative. Good for faction ranking as well. So there are a few crazy people out there who like to do things like circumnavigations of small moons. So it's like they land, make a note of the hang on that one as well. So if you look under the or well yeah between the little altitude marker, I'm just tweaking there with like firing my little jets, and the actual image of the SRV, you can see a load of coordinates. So people take note of that, pick a compass direction, and then drive the whole way around. Because clearly they've got nothing better to do. I haven't done a circumnavigation myself. Probably have better things to do than that. But yeah, there's a lot of fun to be had. Someone else join? I have a new follower. Oh my goodness. a secondary school teacher. I'm not used to it. No. Yeah, absolutely. Good morning. Well, actually, where I am, it's 5 o'clock in the evening. Well, you know, it's the morning somewhere. It probably always pays to remember that, you know, wherever you are, somewhere in the world, it's always wine o'clock. Right. So, for the benefit of Jay, Y2J. I like it. I was actually working in IT in the aftermath of the Y2K bug. Oh,
Retracted.
I think I need something a little bit more. So, yeah,